So we're live here at homecoming. I shared with the fellas some secrets to a winning mindset tonight, and I'll share them with you. So the game of football, what they're learning in football is very similar to life. It's the number one thing that'll make you more successful than 60% of the people is to show up. It's the number one thing. Show up. You know, if you show up, you'll be ahead of 60% of the people. You know, I pastor a church, and I would have twice as many people in my church if they all just showed up. You know what I'm saying? Or you have a volunteer day, and you know, you say, hey, how many people are going to come out for that? You see the show of hands, and it's, you know, 100 people or whatever. You're lucky if you have 40 that show up. You know what I'm saying? So show up. That's the first thing. Show up. If you show up, you're better than 60% of the people. That's a pretty easy one. You know what? If you show up with a plan, that takes you up to 90%, better than 90% of the people. You know that most people don't have a plan. Maybe they show up, but they're clueless. They don't have a plan. Now, for our football people and athletes and everything, they understand, guess what? If you show up with a plan and coaches, mentors, and teachers who can teach you about and see the things that you can't see, you're up to 95%. You're better than 95% of the people right there. When you just show up with a plan, you show up with coaches, teachers, and mentors, and that puts you in the top 5%. Top 5%. All right, now, if you want to take it to the top 1%, here's what you do. The last thing, you show up with a plan, coaches and mentors, so they can evaluate you, and then you execute. You execute. You know, most people don't execute their plan. They might have a great plan, looks great on paper, but what are you doing? Are you executing? Are you following up with it? In Luke chapter, I believe it's 14, Jesus talks about count the cost. And he talks about an army, a king that has an army of 10,000, and he gets with his counselors because he needs to have a strategy and a plan, because he's going up against an army that's twice the size. Didn't say that was foolish, that you can absolutely beat an army that's twice your size. You can absolutely defy the odds. You can be that 1%, but you got to show up with a plan and get some wise counsel. And then execute. Looks like my boys might be executing tonight. We're down by 1, but I got a good feeling about this one. They're going to come out the second half. They're going to show up. They got a plan. They evaluated it. The coaches evaluated it. In this second half, we're going to watch them execute. Go Petersburg.